Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Holland, Michigan. My name is Luke Bauman.
And I am Andrew Bauman with the Luke Bauman Real Estate Team.
If you're considering buying or selling real estate in the West Michigan market, we'd love to help you out. Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Holland, Michigan. So Andrew, let's talk a little bit about the pros to begin. We actually struggled when we thought about like the cons of living or negatives of living in Holland. It was really hard to come up with much. But a pro obviously is you got Lake Macatawa and Lake Michigan. Lake Macatawa is what separates the north side from the south side.
You bet.
You have a boat.
I do.
What do you like to do on the water?
I currently trailer my boat, but there's tons of options for keeping your boat on the water at some marinas. But what's great about Lake Mac, obviously there's a ton of boat launches, but you can take your boat right from Lake Macatawa onto Lake Michigan. I don't have a huge boat at all, so depending on how the waves are, then go out to the beach. You can typically wrap around Big Red, typically is a little bit calmer there. And then you can go a little bit further south and you can get to where the dunes are located.
And then obviously you got, along with the boating and skiing and fishing, the Holland State Park is right there.
You bet. Yeah, so that's a great area. People typically do not take their boat to the state park. Certainly you can, you just have to park a little bit further away from the beach. I think that's really what keeps people from taking their boat there. But definitely a great place to drive to, and
so I guess a negative, if you don't like water, if you don't like spending time on the water, maybe not that you need to love Holland or you need to be in Holland to love that, because there's plenty of other things to do, but that is a big draw for West Michigan. As you get near the water, the prices of homes can become a little more expensive, so that would maybe be a little bit of a negative there.
Yep.
I'd say for the state park, because it is so popular on Saturdays and Sundays, it can get really busy.
Yeah, there's limited parking, so you really want to get to the state park early, or you're parking kind of in neighborhoods and then walking into the beach. One thing that I used to do is I would put some bikes in the vehicle and then park as far away as you wanted, but at least get close and then just bike right into the park. So one of the great things that Holland has, and potentially one of the things that you don't like, is we have all 4 seasons. So we definitely experience all 4 of them, that being winter, fall, summer, spring. Summer in Holland is the place to be. Like we had just kind of touched on earlier in the video, having all the lake access, all the parks.
We're out at Pawpaw Park.
Pawpaw Park here in the kind of the Holland Heights area, kind of right in the middle of Holland, but further on the east side of town. But yeah, there's tons of parks. But yeah, the negative would be we have kind of a long winter. We don't typically get a ton of snow. We can, but it usually only happens in like a couple days, and then it melts the next day.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'd say that's the draw. It's not necessarily winter, because a lot of people like those 4 seasons, but it's that winter can kind of linger around. I mean, you sometimes will have snow, October. I've seen snow all the way into May and usually it's gone by then, but sometimes you have a really short spring, and if you again, there's benefits of the snow. You got the snow skiing, and you got the sledding, and there's some great sledding hills in the Holland area. Snowshoeing, you can kind of do your bikes and all that stuff, but that lingering can kind of be a pain. Driving, if you've not been around Michigan winters, it can be kind of a challenge. I know he said that it can all melt, but there's times when we just got so much snow. There's times when school gets canceled, so if you're worried about your kids being out a few days of school, that's not uncommon either. So from a standpoint of like the weather, that might be the biggest thing, that people just don't love winters in Michigan.
But the fall is awesome. It's football season. You got all the, you can kind of see in the background, we have, the changing colors of the season. And yeah, it's just beautiful still.
So another pro of being in Holland, it's a smaller town, but it has really all the amenities that you're looking for in some of the bigger cities. So Andrew can touch on a little bit about kind of what Holland offers in general.
Yeah, so you can live in Holland and you can still have that small town feel where you can go to your local grocery, you can go to the farmer's market, but yet we do still have, you know, all the shopping that you'd want. Downtown Holland has a ton of shops. We have a ton of restaurants. You also have, you know, Meijer that's close by, and Target that's close by, and Best Buy. So you're not having to drive into Grand Rapids, which is also, you know, a great big city that's local, which is about, you know, 30 to 40 minutes outside of town. You're not having to drive there to do your shopping or get your groceries or, you know, get your phone fixed. That's all local here.
Yeah, and it's, you know, with it not being very big, you know, population-wise, it's not gonna be that busy on the streets. Like, we're not gonna be stuck in traffic. I mean, that's really, when I go to bigger cities, I can't handle that, and I think we take it for granted a little bit, but the fact that you can just kind of go from one place to another, you have the Best Buys and all the chains that you kind of, stores you talked about. You know, maybe a negative is there's not like a big national sports team. You know, you got the Detroit Lions that are 3 hours away or 2.5 hours. You got Michigan Wolverines. You got, you know, in Lansing, the Spartans of MSU, which is about an hour and a half away. So like getting to things like big events is a little bit more of a challenge being here.
Yeah, and the only caveat or thought that I would say with that too is, you know, because of the winter weather, we often have roads that need construction work done on them. So there's oftentimes work being done on the roads because the weather just isn't set up perfectly to keep the roads nice all year round.
But that's why downtown Holland, they put the street snowmelt systems in, so you can kind of shop and kind of be downtown, not worry about. But that does, the salt and the snow, it does beat up on your car a little bit more. So, you know, it's just gonna, it does wear, winters can kind of wear on you a little bit. But, you know, as far as like events, the nice thing with Holland too is your 30 to 45 minutes to Grand Rapids, which offers pretty much everything you're looking for the Van Andel Arena and concerts and events. But it's a little bit smaller from the standpoint of maybe the nightlife isn't as big.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like big clubs or whatever dance areas that you can go to a lot in Holland. But that's kind of where you'd have a night out with the spouse and you'd go to Grand Rapids and experience that. And I think that's what a small town should be. But yeah, we definitely have a ton of snowbirds, as you'd say, who, you know, there's not a better place to spend your summers if you're, you know, part-time living, like some people do, you know, go to Florida or Texas or Phoenix, somewhere like that.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who, you know, they're kind of relocating to West Michigan because the Arizona and the Florida, they get so hot in the summers that it's like, hey, let's come here and enjoy 80-degree weather and
the beach.
And the beach.
So another positive is some of the festivals or big festival that we have, which is Tulip Time. So every year, April, May, we have what's called the Tulip Time Festival, and there are a ton of tulips. So this is a very Dutch heritage town. There's Dutch dancing, there are carnival rides, there are elephant ears, parades, which we also walk in with our team.
They scrub the streets with...
They do some street scrubbers.
With water and soap and just keep the streets clean.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know, a negative to that, it can get really busy. You got hundreds of thousands of people all over the world that are coming to a smaller town, and if you're, you know, kind of going downtown during that time, it's just hard to get around.
Yep.
But I think you kind of find that in any city when there's, you know, big events going on. But I'd say that's maybe the one negative. You know, I don't think Tulip Time is necessarily for everybody. You know, you
can see it once and you've seen it. But it's entertaining.
Some people,
it's beautiful.
But I
people
should
love
say
the
some
flowers.
some people do it every year. But it's like, oh, it's Tulip Time again, which is fun for like, you know, a day or two, and then it's like, oh man, now there's just a whole bunch of people.
And it's not like this month-long thing. You know, it's only really a big 2 weeks, or, you know, maybe a big week. So, you know, you avoid the busyness if that's something that you want to do, but, you know, certain nights it's not super busy, and, you know, you get some food that's probably not good for you but tastes delicious.
You have the fireworks
during the which happens at Holland Park on the south side. Yeah, it's just, that would be potentially a negative, like you said.
So anyways, I hope you enjoyed our video today. We went over the pros and cons of living in Holland. If you guys like our videos, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you need help finding real estate in West Michigan, we'd love to be that resource.
See you next time.